welcome to the Utah Puck Report. It's me, Jay Stevens, my good friend Adrian Denny. Adrian, game 40 of 41. Last night, I had an amazing interview. I think you were around, and I got to interview Matt Villalta.
Yeah.
Phenomenal interview. Phenomenal kid.
I interviewed him yesterday too.
Oh, man. Was it the most fun?
It's always fun.
I love that kid.
Love Matty V.
So, as I got home, I did it again. As I got home, I realized my whole video was gone. Because on the Apple Watch, if you do this, it stops your recording. So I lost what was one of the most fun interviews I'd had. And then as I was sitting there thinking about how crazy this has all been and how I was like just scrambling and learning so many things. And like I said, game 40 of 41 home games. And just thinking back a year ago when this all started, I was like, we could do a pregame or we could just talk about how crazy this whole thing's been. Because yesterday was crazy. Like it was fun. We got to see the new practice facility. And so you want to just relive a little journey with me?
Yeah, I do.
Don't let me forget to talk about the practice facility.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
So
the last thing that's happened in our lives, we visited the practice facility yesterday.
Yeah.
Got it.
Let's start with it.
Okay.
What did you think of it? I mean, had you seen the renderings before? Did you know what was coming?
I hadn't. I was down there in November.
Yeah.
But just an amazing amount of work, and this group has shown just how fast they can build stuff out. It's crazy.
Wow.
What they did with the oval, number one, was amazing in itself in the time frame that they did it. Now they're taking this space and what they're doing with it and how quickly they're getting it done. And you saw the ice surface on it. You know what an ice surface looks like when it's just about ready, right?
Yeah.
It's
close. There. Yeah. It's there. Just need some boards.
Yeah.
It's funny because, they talked about all the work that they'd put into the oval. And then we got back, that finished up. We went to practice and some other media was sitting there and they're like, what did they even do at the oval? I don't see any work here. And I'm like, you see all that stuff in the corner, all the offices, the locker rooms, the plumbing, the electric, all that stuff. That wasn't here a year ago.
Yeah. You know what it's like to skate at the oval and have to walk up the stairs. And
as a goalie, I hate it.
Yeah.
And as a goalie that really likes sharp edges, you can't get from the locker room down the stairs, up the stairs to the rink without screwing up your edges a little bit and get some stuff on it. Anyway, but it's just amazing to think, they did that.
I was talking with Tim Branham, the former coach of the Grizzlies, last night. Same thing I said to you. Said you wouldn't even believe. He's like, practice facility looks really cool. I said you wouldn't even believe to start with what they did with the oval.
Yeah.
Because it was our practice facility with the Grizzlies, and we were all there, and it's awesome. It's great, but we were on an Olympic-sized sheet of ice too.
Right. Yeah. Yep, I do remember that because as bad as I am at goaltending, that makes it worse. Is going from NHL to Olympic, it just throws everything off. It takes a little bit of getting used to. The one thing though, and we've seen it with teams coming in and seeing the oval, and you see all the visiting teams taking a lap, and you see the guys messing around on the oval. And I was asking Ian Cole the other day, I'm like, are you going to kind of miss it a little bit? Like the uniqueness of how cool that practice facility was? And of course he says yes. And I think, it was last minute, but it was still perfect. Like, I think it was amazing. I think everybody had a good time with it.
Yeah, it is. And Ryan Smith saying yesterday, and we're leaving it behind for the next group that needs it there at the oval.
And I don't know who that's going to be. I'm imagining that the speed skating, the Olympic speed skating is going to take it over. The new practice facility, phenomenal. And Ryan said he was going for top 5. It's probably going to be one of the best ones in the league. And you look at everything that it's got, and a full kitchen, the hot and cold tubs, and then the underwater treadmills, and then the full area where you can sprint and do all the other stuff. And it's just so amazing that that's in Utah now. I mean, we saw what Florida had, what Tampa had, what Seattle's gotten now with their practice facilities. They're well documented, but to see that yesterday, you're like, the Smith Entertainment Group always just seems to go up a notch.
I think top 5 is very modest.
I think so
it's going to be the best. There's no question, because everything that that's happened here has been done
Yeah,
to be the best.
and it shows. So as you look back on this season, first off, like you kind of got brought in late, right? Like you knew you're part of the system, and then all of a sudden you're just like, boom, I'm in the NHL, and here we go. So it was kind of a whirlwind for the beginning of for you too, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, having from April to October to get ready, broadcast team was one of the last things that got completely assembled,
Yeah,
and
they stuck with a lot of the same from Arizona.
yeah, Matt McConnell came up.
Yep,
Tyson Nash was
Dominic Moore.
Dom was with ESPN,
Yeah,
NBC, and his family relocated from Boston, and
wow.
Sarah Merrifield was with the Stars and the Texas Rangers, and Kim Becker was with the Avs, and Mike was in the American Hockey League in Rockford, and I was in the AHL in Tucson, and Craig Amazine and Travis Henderson who assembled our team. Gosh, I watch the TV broadcasts on SCG Plus. You know, when I'm home, I obviously don't see the stuff live, and my family watches it. And just get unbelievable reviews from
Yeah,
my family on the TV broadcast, and
there are a lot.
my mom just adores Kim and Nick and Sarah, and
Oh
she
yeah.
loves Dom and Matt, and then my dad, a hockey fan watching it, and Matt and Dom and Nick or his three, but everybody loves Sarah and Kim too.
Well,
So
it's so good because you mentioned they all have a great hockey background, and then coming into Utah and having to educate the fans. Not all the fans. Please don't send me the hate mail. I know that we had. Look, you and I know there was hockey here before.
yeah,
We get it. There was professional hockey
Yeah.
here before. But every time I talk about educating the fans, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the ones that didn't know about hockey before, or maybe didn't watch every game, or didn't live and breathe it. Right? We do have the fans that did, but that crew and even SCG kind of turned to me a little bit and said, "Can you help a little bit more with explaining certain things?"
yeah,
And I think when you bring in a group with that much of a diverse background, Disney on Ice and
yeah,
and Olchek, man, that's hockey DNA all the way. His dad's a legend. Nick grew up playing. He played college with one of our, he happened to be at Colorado College when Halloran was there.
yeah,
So it's fun to see those guys come in, and I think they do such a good job, and you do such a good job on your show. I end up listening to you guys quite a bit, and just kind of like guiding us through what's happening, why it's happening, and not just plays, but and there's one thing that came up that shocked a lot of people yesterday or earlier this week with Yamamoto getting sent down, getting put in the lineup for one game for Tucson, and getting pulled back up the next day.
Yeah.
A lot of people were confused about that. A lot of people thought it was just on paper. They didn't realize that he actually went down and played, picked up 2 assists.
Yeah, he
in an important game for Tucson.
He picked up an assist less than 4 minutes into the game.
Of course he did.
They were up 1-0, and they won the game 5-2.
Yeah.
And he made a phenomenal pass to Cameron Hebig. He could have shot the puck and scored, but made a beautiful pass to make it 4-1 in a big spot of the game right after Bakersfield had made it 3-1. And then he had a rush, an on-man rush, I think right after that in the third period. And again, could have scored a goal and just made a beautiful pass, and it didn't go in the net. But gosh,
so I'm picking up that you watch all these games too.
He was their best player on the ice. Yeah.
Do you miss your Roadrunners?
I watch every Roadrunners game that we're not playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I enjoy it. Just being with that organization and those coaches and those players, and my broadcast partner took over as play-by-play announcer. So
sounds a lot like you.
Yeah,
I think he does.
I have heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he does. When I listen to him, I don't know if that's. I don't know what experience he had before, but I think he does sound a lot like you, and that's a compliment to him.
Thank you.
I think the world of you.
Yeah. But it's family.
Yeah.
And loved my 6 years there, and I just love them being our affiliate.
Yeah.
And we're all still one team.
I asked Matty V about that yesterday. I said, "Look, I get it. It's the NHL. They call, and it reminds me of Toy Story when the claw comes out, and you're just like so excited. I'm going up. I'm going to the show.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you've been there and you fought and you struggled with all those guys, the wins, the losses, the training camp and all that stuff. And I asked Matty V, I'm like, do you kind of miss it? You know, do you still? And he's like, well, he still watches it,
Yeah.
and he did go through a lot with them, but you know, he's in the show and he's happy to be here. But
yeah, and Josh Jones, another person. I mean, he's
Oh, yeah,
just a big
right.
sports fan.
Yeah.
Just a huge sports fan to start with.
yeah,
Josh and I have gotten into a number of conversations this year about the Roadrunners. In fact, I was just coming down here, and apparently I haven't worn this shirt since March 24th of 2024 because I'm putting this shirt on just a few minutes ago, and there's something in here. I'm like, what is this? I pull out. It's a press credential. It's Jonathan Schaefer's press credential. He's the play-by-play announcer in Tucson. He was my partner last year. I'm like, go. Text our group in Tucson. Like, sorry, I didn't give this to you, Johnny. Guess I never got it. And I came in and I showed Mike Folta. He's in our radio studio getting ready for the broadcast tonight. And I'm like, look at this. He's like, March 24th, 2024. And I said, yeah, you know what happened that day? It's like, and he got it. Like, Doan got called up. I said, yeah, Josh got called up after the game. But the best part of it is Josh could have taken the first flight to Phoenix. He flew back with us on Southwest the next day. We had a layover in Las Vegas. He was in C group. I remember being in my seat. Josh was walking by. Just got called up to the NHL. Flew back with the team. Got his car. Drove up to Phoenix the next day for morning skate. But he could have flown in, and he flew back with us. And one last trip as a Roadrunner.
Yeah. And then what amazing. Like I watched that game. I was so excited for him. His dad meant so much to that organization. And to see him score and to see his uncle up there shirtless and just freaking out and just enjoying it. That was so much fun.
It's one of my favorite moments ever. My parents happened to be in town in Tucson that night, and we watched the game together.
Oh, wow.
It was just unbelievably special.
That's very cool. Do your parents make a lot of this stuff? I mean, do they listen and watch all your games? And is it because they're your fan or they're
hockey
fans?
They listen for me, but then they fall in love with the teams. They listen to every Grizzlies game, went to every Grizzlies game, knew everything about the Grizzlies, knew our coaches, knew our players. When I went to Tucson, same thing. Listen to the games, watch the games. Came down a couple times a year, and they happened to be there, and so they knew how much Josh meant to me and how much I admired him, and to watching it together with them versus watching it alone was much more fun.
Yeah. I knew they started working on that horn once we started talking.
That time
I'm pretty sure the mics filter most of it out, but yeah, and he's such an awesome athlete to watch grow. And I told you, I don't know if people can hear something, but we must have scored 5 times. I told you, I don't know, like he's just taking over in such a big way. Using his body the way you want him to use it. He can be that real big, that power forward that we really need. We have a lot of smaller forwards that are phenomenal skill-wise, but he comes in, he's got the body, he's got the skill, he's got the mind. I love watching him think games through. He's got the entire package.
Yeah, the work ethic's the biggest thing and his love of the game is the other, right? Like growing up in an NHL locker room, and his dad's a hockey genius and a great player and comes from a great family. But Josh loves the game, and he's got the work ethic, so he's just got every tool you need.
Watched practice yesterday. Doan, Cooley, Ole Mata stayed on for 45 minutes after practice and just worked on stuff. And that I just want to point that out to people because it was a hard practice. They ran through some stuff. They worked on everything they needed to work on. And then they got off and they left the guys on. And typically, guys stay out 10, 15 minutes, take some shots or whatever. But they had, their little gadgets out there to shoot through, to learn to use the D as a screen and shoot through those legs. And they had those little passing things. And they kept that e-bug out there for an extra 45 minutes. And just, that's the work ethic that you're talking about. And to know that it's Cooley and that it's Doan and it's Mata. It's the guys you want to see it from. It's pretty impressive. When you talk about like how your family fell in love with the team, I think the entire state of Utah has fallen in love with this team. And as we look back on the last few games and the entire season, what moments stand out to you the most? Like, what was your favorite couple moments on the ice? And what are the fans doing that you're enjoying?
The fans have developed an identity, and Mikhail Sergachev's called them clubbers.
Yeah,
Call
the
themselves
Clippers.
clubbers.
Yeah,
They're clubbers.
oh, I love it.
This building has you can feel the buildup
Oh yeah,
and the instinct that they have. They don't start chanting veggie immediately after the first save because veggie still has work to do, right? If the
right, yeah,
puck's still in the zone and you have to make a second save and a third save and we can't get the puck out, they wait till the puck exits the zone and veggie has a chance to
yeah,
breathe before they go into the veggie. So there's a reaction that it's kind of like being at a symphony when you applaud after the solo act is complete, right?
yeah.
Or a jazz
Right.
concert
Okay.
or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that. It's really cool, but the place has an identity. Everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it is what it is, but there's nothing like it. And it just starts with, you know, the that black SeatGeek Utah Hockey Club. I don't know what to call it. Curtain that you got across there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It spells Delta Center. It spells Utah. Love the place being packed, but it just always has a good feel. I said this when I was in Tucson, and it was a rare building that no matter what the team did, fans were always on the team's side, right? Puck bounces over a stick on a 5-on-3, nobody groans, right? They go get the puck and they move it back into the zone and they get reset. There's no groaning, there's no bad energy,
Yeah.
there's nothing like that. Have you heard anything? And you watch hockey games all the time. Puck bounces over a stick on a power play and it takes the air.
Yeah.
Not something happens here, something goes wrong here. You don't feel it, and that's so huge because the energy is just always so positive. They're always so positively behind the team because the team can feel it when the fans are frustrated,
Yeah.
when there's tension, when there's nervousness. And here it's just, we're going, guys, go play.
It's funny that you mentioned that because it got brought up recently in one of my other meetings about trying to be more professional as a journalist or whatever. Never claimed to be a journalist, but they're talking about stuff and talking about the positivity. And I said my goal is always to point out the positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a note that I've taken from the team and from the ownership and from nobody's telling me, like, nobody's coming down and saying, hey, your articles have to be positive or whatever. Yeah. But I just feel like, okay, guys are going to struggle. There's no reason to point it out because guys already know they're struggling. So for me, it's always keep it positive and point out the things that are going right and hope for the best on some of the things that aren't. Like, we've talked about the power play and not in a way that it's negative, I don't think. I think we've just said, hey, power play is struggling, power play is struggle. That's, they're hot and they're cold.
And now they're 3 for their last 4.
Yeah.
How about that?
And do you remember what I said needed to happen?
Yes.
And then
Barrett Hayton was listening, I think, on his way to the rink.
Yeah, maybe so.
Made a nice pass to Keller.
Yeah.
Could have scored on it too.
Yeah, I thought I think I texted that to him. I'm like, I wanted Keller to score. I wanted Keller to shoot more. I don't care if he scores. I care that he shoots so that he absorbs more defensive pressure to open up Cooley and Hayton. And I think in doing that, well, anyway, he scored, and I think people started gapping over towards him more. They got to fill that gap more because they know he's going to shoot now. When that happens, you leave Cooley or Gunner or Hayton. We do have so much offense. And
going into the year, remember?
That's
we had a D, and the way that the season has gone, maybe going into the off season, maybe that's what they had this year is offense. Because I think going into this year, we're comfortable with what we're going to score, and then you put the team together and go through injuries and add the new D-man and realize, you know what, maybe we're more of a defense first team right now.
We don't have from defense being and I told you,
which is how they had to reset it on the fly when
Right.
Marino and Jersey were gone.
Yeah, 'cause
right, we couldn't keep playing
yeah.
like we did the first 3 games of the year, even with Jersey, but without Marino.
Yep.
5-2, 6-5, 5-4.
And when they
5-4.
go out and they pick up Sergachev, they pick up, we get Marino and they get Olimata, and all of a sudden you go from, hey, defense is our weakness, to we're up there in the top tier of the NHL as far as defensemen. And there's room for Lamoureux to grow and come in there. He's going to be one of those big players, and we have other players down there. If they're going to go out and get somebody this off season, you say you're looking for more of a forward. What style of forward do you think they go for?
Gosh, looking at the roster, I think you want a guy who could be physical,
Sam
get to
Bennett?
the net, something like that.
Oh.
Something like a player like that. I think you said a name of a guy and everybody knows what he does, and that's exactly it.
That's what we need, and he's a UFA, right?
Yeah,
UFA
I'm not saying Sam Bennett. I'm saying
a guy like
Sam
that.
Bennett.
Yeah,
yeah.
And that's what I've been
But
saying.
that's exactly it.
And he's available, and we have cap space. But all last year
I'm not saying Sam Bennett. I'm
right.
saying like a Sam Bennett.
Like a Sam Bennett.
Like a Sam Bennett.
Yeah. But that's what I've been saying.
But if you got a wish list, right? If you're going out,
yeah.
Team has a lot of salary cap space, and is going to have the ability to go pick their spot and get what they want.
And a guy like him, I don't think you have to give an 8-year contract. I think you give him a 2 or 3 year contract at the money you want. That stabilizes you for next season. Maybe gets us into that hump where we do make the playoffs. Not saying we're out of them yet. We have to win every game, and basically Minnesota has to lose every game for us to get it. And then Calgary has to just stay out of the way. So it's possible.
And I'm not saying Sam Bennett. I can't say that as a right.
Well, you didn't say. I said.
I can say.
Yeah,
a player like that would, I think.
And I agree. And there are a couple other ones. Reinhardt was one. There are a couple other players that are out there. And now I can't think of them. I had a list of it before. But anyway,
I think a body that can crash and burn and get to the crease and open up some space and
a little bit of a threat too, right? Just a little bit of a I don't want to say babysitter, but like a guardian.
Yeah.
Spicy Tuna has done a phenomenal job this year in playing that role. I would like a guy that's a line 2 guy that can, a line 1 or 2 guy that can be that guy too. That's intimidating to play against. I think that's what propels you further into the season, into the playoffs. Is just that physical force. Has anything else really stood out to you or surprised you this season as you look back and what's been your favorite moment from the team so far this year?
So everybody's going to say opening night. I loved opening night.
Yeah.
I'll say second game of the year here, October 19th against Boston, the 2-1 overtime win. Yep. Kesselring gets the overtime game winner, the New England kid against Boston. That, for me, was like, okay, we had a great opening night, and we just came back and did the exact same thing in the arena.
Yeah. Very cool.
And really kind of set the tone. That's what Delta Center is going to be like every night.
For me, I was looking for one of our goaltenders to make a statement.
Yeah.
And I knew they came in kind of neck and neck. And I'd watched them both, and I like them both. I got to know them both over the course of the season. I really like both of them. Great people. But I wanted one of our goalies to really come out and steal a game and say, I'm the starting goalie, and here we go. You and I actually talked about it several times. And to see that game against Carolina, please tell me it was Carolina. I don't want to mess this up.
It was, 49-50.
10,
13.
Yeah. 10 minutes in penalties.
Yeah.
Almost in a row, right? We had 5-on-3s and 5-on-4s and veggies on fire. And that's that to me cemented it for me. I think that cemented it for a lot of the fans. I think that's what a lot of fans kind of went like, that's what it looks like when a goalie steals a game.
Yeah, that was a great night. That was a signature moment against a really good team. Andre Turney for the next 2 months referenced that game as the game where we learned how to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, learned how to win.
Because everybody had to do everything they could. When you're shorthanded like that, and I think one of the penalties was on Cole, who you count on to not only kill penalties but block shots.
Yeah.
He's your backup goalie on the ice, right? Like
Yeah.
he's out there blocking shots, and then he was in the box a bit, and yeah, so that game was just unreal to me. And as I've asked other fans too, the highlights of their night or their season, what night was it? And a lot of people bring that game up too.
Do you know from a road game though, the 6-0 game in Vegas, the Saturday after Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
I keep going back to that as another highlight.
Well,
because they played Edmonton the night before,
Yep.
up 2-0, then fell behind 3-2, had to tie it, forced overtime, lost back-to-back in Vegas.